Road America for round 5 of the 2021 Season 1 American Sports Car Championship GTE class here at Road America. I'm your host tonight, Carlin Hicks, along with One Shoe. Say hi to the crowd, One Shoe.
Hello, sports fans, eSports, sim racers. Glad to have you with us today.
Yeah, we are looking forward to just a fantastic race here tonight at one of North America's truly great racing venues, the second oldest continuously operating road racing facility in North America, second only to Willow Springs. Road America is a 4-mile, that's more than, I believe, 6.4 kilometer course, until some recent builds out in Utah, and I believe one other one down south somewhere. This was the longest road course in North America for many, many years, and it is certainly the original. It has a little bit of everything: tight corners, extreme long straightaways, undulations, elevation changes. It's got the works. Many of you in the watched the European Tour race on Thursday, saw the GT1s go to battle here as they made their way here to Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin this week as well. This week on the American Tour side, we've got the GTEs and the Indy cars will be here tomorrow night. And Road America, always a classic facility. One Shoe, you've been around this track more than once. You've run here in Indy cars and sports cars, even in a number of Pro-Am races. What's your take on running Road America?
To me, probably one of the areas that I enjoy the most winds up being the carousel. It's always a really delicate balance for me. It's how much throttle are you willing to try to apply, but still try to keep the track off of the curb, or keep the car off of the curbs. And what also gets me, just because of the length of this track, is the concern about how much fuel you burn on this track. I think fuel becomes a real premium here, maybe even so much more than tires. You can kind of get away with stretching the tires, but I was surprised in testing earlier this week just how much fuel you burn per lap.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that the fuel that you burn, you cannot run out here. If you've ever watched, go on YouTube like I do, watch the old races here, and they'll talk about it. Don't run out of fuel here. You're not coasting anywhere with it. Your race is over. It's a long track with long straightaways that with undulations you can't coast. But really, any success I've had here and many of the drivers I've known over the years that have raced here, it comes from keeping it clean here. This is not a place where you fling the car around to go fast. You have to, there's such long straightaways that, like, for example, just here at the end of turn 1 where we're seeing Green Gaming come down, you know, you can be aggressive here in turn 1, but when you come up here to turn 2, where he's heading to now, this sets up to a long straightaway. If you go over aggressive, if he so much as touches this curb on the way out, you're never going to get up to top speed, at least at the same rate that the other guys are. You can tell how good you're doing by how early you reach, you know, your relative top speed. And the people who are smooth about it, I think, are the ones who are the most successful here. Now, that leaves the question, One Shoe, of course, about the cars. You know, you want something with some muscle. The Vets probably will look good here. But these are tight, sharp corners. You know, is it possible that the Ferrari and the Ford GT, you know, have the combination necessary to do a little something here? What's your thought on that?
I think this is the opportunity for the GTs to really come alive. Where Willow maybe didn't fit the cars that well, didn't fit the GT that well, I think there is enough technical pieces in this track where having a car that is, you know, I always kind of maybe misguessed that the Corvettes feel a little lazy and a little heavier. I think this is a good opportunity for the GT, and I think this is a track where the Porsche could also shine too.
Yeah, that's a whole other subject. I've often had the opinion that sim racing games undersell the Porsche 911. That basic design should be more competitive than it is overall, but it's definitely a handling car, and I wouldn't mind being in a Ford GT in this race. I think you might see some success with it. But like you said, tire wear is an issue. Is anybody going to try to go long here? You know, there was a lot of talk in practice during the week over tire combinations. I know I've run staggered tires here in IndyCar in the past. I know I've done it as well in Grand Am Sports Car Championship in the past, and so it becomes a question. There's going to be a variety of strategies here, and qualifying may not exemplify exactly what we'll see. But let's get a rundown here on the points order. With race 4 a washout due to the server issues, we're still heading to round 5 here. We've got 4 races left in the championship, 3 races, 3 different winners. Our point standings is OGR, a cat guy in his Corvette. He is currently at the top of the standings without a race win. Cat guy has, as we'll see where he's at on the track in his vet.
I think, is he back to having 2 functioning arms this week too?
He is.
The week off helped him.
Yeah, he has recovered and has had some time. He told me in a pre-race interview that he had not had time this week with some of the recovery and going back to work to get on the car till about 90 minutes before race time. But I know from many years of racing with him, he knows the car, he knows the track, and as I say that, curse of the commentator, he goes straight into the tire barriers. Yeah, it goes straight into the tire barriers there. But anyhow, that leads us up to the second place car in the championship, and that is... Sorry, I'm looking at my stats as my phone updates here. CDN Trooper, who has been a Flux regular here from north of the border, just north of here in Wisconsin. He's a Canadian. CDN Trooper, second in the points. Another one, as you said, it's been such a competitive season that the top 2 here in the points have not won a race. They've just been on multiple podiums so far in the early part of the season.
Yeah, CDN's got some damage also.
Yeah, these crews are going to have some work to do during the break between qualifying and the race as CDN goes out to try to see. You know, it fixes the car, but I've been doing some offline racing when I get a few minutes to test. And let me tell you, you might fix the car and it says 0 on the damage, but I could still feel, something wrong with the car. I don't think it, maybe that's my mind playing tricks on me, but I could tell you I had cars that were still pulling, just a little bit. So maybe he might have some trouble getting it up to speed here. We'll hope that it works better for him. In the meantime, third in the point standings, just 7 points back, is Lecky. Lecky, the winner at Willow Springs, with a fantastic drive out there in the desert. He's done a terrific job here so far this season on the American Tour. One of the toughest parts of this track's a 20-minute qualifying. This is our qualifying session for those viewers asking on our chat. Welcome. And then it's a 45-minute race. So we're in the midst. We've got 11 minutes left in qualifying. Got a 45-minute feature race here in round 5. Lucky he's been solid this season, but that win at Willow Springs was really a fantastic drive and one of the toughest tracks. And as I said, I think for the North American drivers, when going over to Europe, may not be as familiar with the tracks, and sometimes the European drivers are not as familiar with the tracks over here on the American Tour. But Lecky was terrific at Willow Springs, and despite that damage on the car, very much in the championship hunt. Taijo, 4th in the point standing so far this season, and he has been the best Ford GT runner so far this year, topping the Ford points. Taijo's been on the podium yet this season? One shoe, I don't have you have the numbers, I believe.
Let me take let me take a quick look here. Actually, he's the one driver that we don't have dash information for. We asked the drivers to do a little bio sheet for us to give us a little background information, and unfortunately, Ty Joe is one that we don't have that information from.
We had a question from one of our viewers, and that'll move us on to the fifth place. Fifth place in the points, 26 back coming in, is Luke Snipes. Luke Snipes he's a Ferrari driver, is he not? Yes, he is. Luke Snipes, yes. One of the Ferrari regulars here on the American GTE Championship. He's really made that car work this season. 3 winners so far this season, and you'll see them some disparate names from the ones we've just mentioned in the top 5 in points here. We had Pro Fubby, who's was a part-time entry. He was the winner at Daytona. Then the aforementioned Lecky won at Willow Springs, and then 2 weeks ago at Sonoma, it was O'Brien making a reserve drive who got the win. So this is just a wide open championship there through the top 5. 6th place is Jiggly Jello, 27 points back. Excuse me. Jiggly Jello in the Ford GT, and I think for a rookie driver, and I believe it's, if not his first, it's his second season of competition in Flux One Shoe. He has been in a variety of cars, mind you, sports cars, IndyCar, even stock cars. He has been very consistent in just about everything he's run this season, and has been one of the better up and coming drivers, quietly under the radar.
Yeah, he's tough. He's clean and fast, and that's the 2 things that you're certainly looking for. We also know too that anybody who's interested in joining us here under the Flux Motorsport banner, part of that process is after you sign up on the Discord and then go through what we refer to as an evaluation drive, and that gives you that opens the door to get into the championship series. We've got 7 different championships that are being contended here.
Absolutely. Liam making a comment on our live chat. Luke Snipes is his brother. I'm with you, man. We'll be cheering him on with you, unbiasedly, of course.
Please stop talking about him.
Yep. All right. 7th is Super Crusher, 28 points back, who has been quietly making that number 28 Perispheric Corvette work for him this season. All these guys, as you see, with the points that they're back, with 35, with the points table that runs from first place on back, 35, 30, 27, 25, 23, and so on. And these guys all the way back to 10th is only 32 points. All the way back to 16th is only 55 points. So this is still very, very close. And we're getting right to the middle of the season. A tough track like Road America and next week at Watkins Glen could be swing races in this series for sure. 8th place in the points is Green Gaming, running in that Ford GT. Green Gaming has shown the occasional speed. Unfortunately, I believe a lot of incidents this season. Now, granted, some of that is the fact that he has been in a lot of races. He's using his team owner's corporate jet to hop from one venue to another, and been getting a lot of track time. And we have seen moments of contention with him. He has a top 5 finish this season in the Indy cars, and he has been steadily improving. But he's got to keep it on the track. And if he does, I believe he's a top 5 contender in this race if he can keep the car on the track. 9th place is O'Brien, who is not here. He was the race winner 2 weeks ago at Sonoma. And rounding out our rundown here, we'll give you the top 10. That's McToasty, 32 points back, very much in it. The American driver is very familiar with these tracks, and I believe did not race in the opening round, so he's got time to make up some ground here.
He's doing it for sure right now. He's, at least at this moment, with 5 minutes left, he's on the pole.
Yeah, holding it up with a 2:04.0. This is one of those tracks, by the way, that you're going to see one of the greatest variations in, not so much in the pace as far as qualifying to race pace, which will be the normal 1 or 2 seconds that it usually is. But you'll see a lot of variation here lap to lap, because this is the type of place, as we were telling the drivers in the pre-race drivers briefing, most tracks you get off in the grass a little bit or you hit the curb a little bit, you lose 3 to 5 tenths. So, 1 or 2 mistakes on a lap and you have a 1 second slower lap. At this place, one little mistake, like that little bobble right there hitting that curb, and that's a second right there, 1.5 seconds, easy. The reason being, with these long straightaways, you have to get on the throttle as soon as possible, getting onto the long straightaways to maximize your lap potential. And so it's not just that you have to be, smooth coming out of the corner, but because those things are going to happen. You're going to get a little light right there. You're going to do that coming through that hurry down section. The fact is that that's something a driving instructor once told me when I was a kid at a racing school. Said, 50% of racing's recovery, because nobody's perfect. It's who recovers the best from the little errors that you make. And at this track, make sure that error you make on the curve is a 1 to 1.5 second error. Don't let it be a 3 to 5 second error, which can happen very, very easily at this place. And I think McToastie's a guy who I think will be a contender just like that. Harry, meanwhile, as we said, running 11th in the points, but he has been very solid, especially coming over here from the UK to race on the American Tour. He won in he pulled the old road course ringer bit and won at Willow Springs in the stock cars in a fantastic performance. But I'll tell you what, right now, that car is really loose going through the carousel there, one shoe, which if he's managing, the push the front tire is going to give him, he might be able to, the car might balance out over a long run. But I got the feeling Harry's got a qualifying setup on that thing and is deciding just to fling it in there and try to see if he can get it. Yeah. And he's around and into the wall. That is a tough one.
Unfortunately, he sent it right into the wall.
That is a very tough one. Yeah, Bradley Hahn asking, just wondering, how do you sign up? Bradley, we're glad you asked. You want to give you have the prepared spiel. Tell Bradley how to sign up for Flux Motorsport, won't you?
Well, Bradley, thank you so much for asking. It all starts with you going to FluxMotorsport.com. On there, you'll find the information that will allow you to join part of the community. When you sign up there, then you join us on the Discord. You get your evaluation drive, pick a championship series, and you too can be featured on Flux TV. While you're on the Flux Discord, you can participate in the community race, get setups and support, and donate if you please. Browse the marketplace for Flux swag, because winning is pointless if you don't look good while doing it. Discounts and offers available from Fanatec, Acelith, through our affiliate links. Join us here at Flux Motorsport, the home of clean sim racing and eMotorsports.
Absolutely. We'd love to have you aboard, Bradley. We have championships on both the European, UK time zones and here on the American Tour. Currently, as of this season, American Tour running the American Sports Car Championships and the GTEs on Friday nights, the Indy cars on Saturday nights, and the stock cars on Sunday nights. That's 8 p.m. Eastern. And on the UK European Tour, some terrific racing. Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. UK time, that's 3 p.m. Eastern in the States, is the Flux Motorsport Touring Car Championship. Thursday, 8 p.m. UK time, is the GT1 Championship, which had a fantastic race here yesterday, right here at Road America, as they came stateside for a round. And Saturdays, they race at 8 p.m. UK time in the LMP2 Championship in the top prototype class. And Sundays is the ever popular GT3 Championship, also at 8 p.m. UK time, and with, hopefully more to come in the future, and just fantastic racing all here at Flux Motorsport on Project Cars. We're running down to the end of qualifying here. Nick Ancon trying to get going on a hot lap, but as of right now, McToastie's holding the lead for that pole bonus point, which would help out immensely. looking forward. This is going to be a great race. Looking forward to the IndyCar race here tomorrow. Going to be salivating that I'm not in it one shoe. As I said before, when we came over in the previous organization for the Flux merger and came over to Project Cars 2, the one race that meant the most to me to win, besides Indianapolis, obviously, was Road America. I don't know why. I personally think that it is the single greatest road racing circuit in North America. That's my opinion. I'm not the fastest at this place, but my opinion is that you can put this track, I'm not saying it's equal to or better than, but I think you can put Road America up with the Spas, the Brands Hatches, the Monzas, the Nürburgrings. I think it belongs in that category with the way that the racing is, and the scenery, and the way you're literally driving through primordial forest in this place.
Yeah, this track has a lot of the feel of a European circuit. We see, especially, I kind of, there's sometimes I think a little bit about the Nürburgring and how, it's surrounded by trees, it's green everywhere. There's a lot of high-speed technical sections. Not say that I'm comparing the two. I just, in my mind, when I think about where this track, kind of fits, these two tracks kind of remind me of each other.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And just I'll give you a great example. Me being a motorsport historian, watching all those old races, the European drivers to a T, when they came over to race for IMSA and Camel GT series and all that, to a T would say they loved Road America. That Road America was just, they were like it. I remember listening to Jan Lammers or one of those guys say it reminds me of home. It was like dead on. Well, these guys, we're about to wrap up qualifying, so we will have your 15 car starting order for tonight's Flux Motorsport American Sports Car GTE Championship Round 5 at Road America. On our pole with a spectacular 204016 in his Corvette is Mick Toasty 13 from the U.S. Harry W98 in his Ferrari. I think he's a Ferrari driver. Yes, he comes in very close to him, 204115, and qualifies second. He'll be outside of the front row. Super Crusher with a terrific run. As we've said, he's put up some speed this season, and he will be starting third, starting fourth. Your Willow Springs winner, third place in the points. It'll be Lecky 2000 from the UK. Nick Ancon from north of the border in Canada will start fifth. He had a terrific qualifying run, getting in a sub 205 lap. Sixth will be Luke Snipes. His brother's watching the broadcast, cheering for you, Luke. He's in a Ferrari. Starting seventh will be OGR Cat Guy, our current points leader. A little further back for him, but he's going to be looking to move up. Ty Joe will be starting in the 8th spot in the Ford GT. I believe he's the highest qualifying Ford, is he not? All the way back in 8th, so we'll see if he can move forward. CDN Trooper, second in the points, will start in the 9th spot in his Corvette, starting in 10th. The veteran Pogo Mojo, also in his Vet. Moving down to 11th will be Muttley in the Ford GT. 12th will be Green Gaiman, also in the Ford GT. Jiggly Jello, all the way down in 13th. A little bit of a disappointing qualifying for him in the Ford GT. 14th is Deadly Hawk without a time posted in the Porsche, and 15th will be CMCF. I believe he's also in a Ford GT. So the Ford's not faring too well in qualifying. We'll have to see if that will sort itself out for the race. All right, as we prepare to get started here, guys got their last chance to qualify. We saw some of the front ends on those cars one show. I believe these 2 minutes are being used to do some frantic repairs. Console comments here, he feels like it drives similar to Silverstone, and I have to concur with you to some extent, yeah. All right, we're going to have to see McToasty and Harry, the rolling start here on the American Tour, and we're going to have to see if McToasty and Harry coming down, who gets the advantage. It looks like McToasty's got the outside line, Harry qualifying second. May consider it the advantage to be the inside line, maybe not.
I wouldn't want to be on the inside line going into the first corner here. I I
No,
would
me
rather
neither.
be, yeah.
Definitely rather be on the outside. So we'll see if he and Super Crusher have an advantage on Harry and Lecky on the inside row off the start. But this is a track I've seen guys win races here from starting places well back in the field, 7th, ninth, 10th. I myself, I believe it was as far back as 7th and ninth. I've seen a guy come from 13th, 14th to win here. So if you keep your cool and, as we said, avoid the mistakes. And we also don't know what the strategy is going to be. I mean, is somebody going to try to go crazy? And, I think you have enough fuel to go the distance, but is there any
Oh,
tire combination that can get you there? I mean, I don't know if there's any tire combination that will, but you can bet that the Michelins and, you know, Hancooks and whatever other tire packages we see out there in the field, Goodyears even on a couple, Pirellis, we're going to have to see what their tire combinations can do. All right, here we are rolling towards the start. McToasty on our pole. Harry W. to his inside in the Ferrari. It's going to be Vet and Ferrari right off the start here. And we'll hope these guys come clean down into turn 1, round 5 at Road America. The GTE Championship is underway. Quickly building up speed. These cars will get up into well up around 180 miles an hour, well into the 170s. We got somebody going out into the grass, but they shuffle through. Harry gets the whole shot there on McToasty as if you guys go
might have
wide.
been CD and Trooper back there.
It looks like Trooper Super Crusher, who started 3rd, is all the way back in 7th as he fell back a ways. As Harry opens up a little gap by getting the whole shot. Lecky has come out into 2nd place, and he's got a hornet's nest behind him. Let's get on board with Lecky. He's got Luke, who shot up directly behind him in the Ferrari. So 2 Ferraris in the top 3 off the shot. Nick Ancon, somebody going wide there. That was Taijo going off in turn 5. And he falls back.
Downhill into that hard left-hander. Tires are cold. You're worried about losing spots.
Locked up the brakes.
So quick.
Yeah, he locked up the brakes. Gathered himself, came back out in 8th place. But McToasty's all the way back to the back from the pole. I didn't realize he had gone that far back, but he has fallen all the way back in the first half a lap from the front to the back of the field. How's that for you? In the meanwhile, Harry's holding a little over a second, which not a big gap at this place. Got Lecky behind him. Luke has settled into 3rd. Nick Ancon in 4th. Super Crusher in 5th place. As Super Crusher gets by Nick Ancon for 4th right there. Oh, somebody's around. That looks like Super Crusher again as he goes around in Canada Corner. Looks like he avoids any major damage. I don't see any damage on that car. Let's see the back end there. No, he looks okay. I see nothing moving around. But that's what we worried about with him. He qualified 3rd. We know he's quick, but can he stay out of trouble? Still very early on here in this race. How about we jump on board with the points leader, Cat Guy, get inside his Corvette as he has come up from that 8th place, I believe, starting spot, which was a little farther back than we expected, to move up to 5th on 1 lap, as he is chasing down Nick Ancon, who qualified 5th. Let's get in the cockpit and see what he's seeing, as he's going to see if he's fighting that wheel. Looking in his little rear view camera there, he can see Pogo, a driver he's very familiar with, coming up behind him. He's going to try to make a move down here into turn 5. This is a tough spot to make it work, especially with the loss of traction. But he appears to have done it. Let's go back out to the track side, and we'll see if he completed that pass, or if he ran Nick Ancon might have been run a little wide there, as he got passed by Taijo and Pogo as well. Obviously heard no contact, but too wide in the turn 5 is it's a passing zone, but you've got to be dancing pretty easy. Deadly Hawk, meanwhile, in that Porsche is on pit lane here early on. Must have sustained some damage. Looks like he's done and back out, having gone a lap down early on. Tough for the Porsche mainstay here in the GTE Championship.
Yeah, it's a great place to pass, only if you're brave enough to. And then looks like we just had somebody spin out on the middle portion of the carousel also.
See whose name is dropping. Harry's all the way back to 11, so I believe after taking the whole shot in the lead, yeah, that must have been Harry. Let's see if he's got some damage on that car, as he went from the lead all the way back into 11th. I don't at the moment see anything wrong with that Ferrari, and we know he's got the pace, so he can probably sort it out and try to work his way back here early on. But wild action here.
And while we were away, Lecky's now taking the lead.
That is correct. Lecky moving past Luke Snipes. Cat Guy moving up into third at a 6-second gap. Luke's 2 seconds back, settling into second. He came from third row, it was?
Yes.
But he has he definitely avoided any early trouble and settled in. Cat Guy back in third. And you'll see the cars spread out here a little bit, but you got to remember with the way that the slipstream at this track works and the low speed corners, high speed straights, a 1 second gap is more like a half-second gap. And you know, you can just about double those times. As right here we got a battle going on. Taijo in fifth, Pogo in fourth. I'm sorry, Pogo in fourth, Taijo in fifth, Nick Ancon and CDN Trooper at the end of that line, Super Crusher as well. This is fourth through eighth, ninth, whole middle pack of the field, and whoever comes out of this, and that's the thing you got to avoid, losing that speed right there as Nick comes up on the curb, heading down to the interior section here at Elkhart Lake. As
and
these guys,
corner is just so tempting to run wide open through there too.
Right here through the carousel, these guys sliding it around, conscious of the fact that you got to have speed coming off the straightaway here onto the long section through the kink, and you want to try to save the tires. We're not really sure what the strategy is going to be for these guys here today. But as you can see early on here, just 6 minutes into the race, just on the third lap, these guys are still pretty close, still on top of each other as they come through Canada Corner. Taijo, Super Crusher, these are guys all making recovery drives already. They spun, locked up the brakes, went off the track, don't appear to have any damage, so they should be in decent shape and ready to move forward.
Yeah, CDN Trooper, who was off, I swear I saw him off at the start of the race, has already got at least half of his spots back.
Yeah, like we said before the race, recovery, you know, this is the place where you can definitely do it. And he has worked himself up to second in the points without a win through 3 rounds by being consistent. Same thing with Cat Guy, and if they just keep being consistent, try to get the best finishes they can, you know, you'd love to win here today, but the big picture is the Flux American GTE Championship in this series.
Season got shorted by 1 race, so points are they're always at a premium. But now with 1 less opportunity to gain points or maybe even to lose points, you got to make it happen.
It'll be 7 rounds instead of 8, absolutely, with the race cancellation last week due to the network outage. As we take a look here, let's see, Pogo Mojo. I like to get back there where Super and Muttley are going at it for 8th place. He's kind of pulled away from Muttley now, and Super Crusher's moving up on CDN Trooper. He's all over him for 7th. There's your battle for 7th. Both of them in Corvette. CDN in the yellow Corvette, the factory car, and in the 28 Paris Spirit car is Super Crusher, who started 3rd. He's gone back and is doing a recovery drive. You know he's got the pace, but look at this whole field here. 4 laps in, we've only got 9 seconds between the top 10. 11 seconds between the top 11 as McToasty's starting to work his way back up. But as you can see, the lap times have not started to drop yet. These guys are still 3-4 seconds off the qualifying times as they try to settle into the car. Right there, that's where he's going to make his move. Super Crusher's going to get inside of CDN Trooper as he goes wide in Canada Corner and complete the pass for 7th place. Now we'll have to see if CDN can come back here on the long front straight as he's get off the corner right, set him up here with the slipstream. Looks like Taijo had a little trouble there. Taijo's missing a headlight, so I'm assuming he's banged into something.
Well, good thing it's a day race.
Exactly. Don't necessarily need those. These guys are giving us a lot of action, and I got a feeling as soon as we cut away, we're going to see something here at one shoot. But let's take a look up front where Lecky and Luke have exchanged the lead once again. And Lecky, I'm sorry, is right on his tail. Is that a CMC we had withdrawn? I believe so. I believe CMC has parked his Ford. So we're down to 14 cars on the track. So Luke and Lecky going back and forth. Lecky started 4th. Luke started 6th, was it? They were in that inside line together, I believe. And right now they've come out of it out front, but long way to go. 35 minutes left in the 45-minute race. Only working lap 5. We expect to see somewhere in the range of 22, 23 laps. Excuse me.
Trying to set up on the outside, the entry into the carousel.
Yeah, we've got Ferrari versus Corvette right here, a classic GTE battle. Now right there, this is a key thing to remember at this track. There is a lot of aero understeer, or as we Yanks would call it, aero push, coming through the carousel. You might be able to take it a certain way when you don't have a car in front of you, but with a car in front of you, that car wants to go even wider into that off-camber section of the turn. So that's a key here. That's one of the problems running behind somebody here at Road America, especially in a car with the type of weight in it that the GTE cars have, because you're going to have anywhere coming through, even sections like that, you're going to get a little bit of push because you're behind that car. But in the meanwhile, Lecky's just all over him, looking to set him up. Goes to the outside. Terrific driving by these two.
There. Yeah, he certainly could have turned right in there and pinched him off, but gave him plenty of room to make that corner.
Yeah, did a fantastic job. Seeing them setting up down the next straightaway, he's just going to line him up, take another shot. We'll see if he's got enough horsepower in that vet to do it. I don't think I think he'll have a little trouble this time because he had to slow down so late into turn 1. Didn't get a good run coming off onto the straightaway. But his next shot here, barring a mistake, obviously, is going to coming through the carousel. He's going to come out of the carousel, through the kink and all the way down to Canada Corner. That is the next passing zone spot. The next real good passing zone spot, and we'll see if he can make. He tries to go outside here through Hurry Downs.
Yeah. So that's the second time he's looked there. He had really good position there both times.
Yeah, he's just about had it made, but just not quite enough to do it. But now here's going to be a real good shot coming down to Canada Corner, but he gets off cleanly. Doesn't appear to get much aero push. Going to come through the kink now. Luke doing a terrific.
Yeah, he did not go wide that time off of that corner.
Yeah, Luke doing a great job of driving his line defensively, but not blocking. They come off a Canada Corner. Neither one of them touches the curb. And while they've been doing this, Cat Guy's caught up. Pogo's caught up a little bit. We got another car out of the race. We're down to 13. I'm wondering who else we lost here, as we've got a second early retirement.
Oh, here we go.
Yep, here it comes. He lined him up.
Right up on him. Yep.
Lined him up out of 14. Putting that Corvette power. And now you got to decide where you're going to go. You don't want to take this turn 1 on the inside. You don't want to open the door for him. Gets a better entry to the corner right there. And that should be enough to get the pass done for now. Let's go back. As compelling as this is, let's spread this out a little bit throughout the field. Looks like Super and Nick and Khan are having a battle. Super just gets by him right there.
Yeah, Nick just had a off there.
Nick with a little off. McToasty into the pits early here, just 14 minutes in. Bit of a surprise there. that our pole sitter is in this early. I'm wondering if it's for damage or just perhaps a strategy. Maybe he's deciding on a tire change or to top off the fuel and get going. Tough to tell here early on, but depending on how long he's in there, we might see if he's fixing the car. Taijo as well, also in the pits here on lap 7. 31.
Just got a pit report. CMCF actually had a transmission problem.
All right, so CMCF retired. 15 starters down to 13 here, just about closing in on the half-hour mark. 15 minutes into this 45-minute Flux Motorsport GTE championship race. We got 2 cars in the pit apparently getting repairs, while Lecky has shot out into the lead. Looks like some middle of the pack battle and a little bit of separation for the front guys. CDN Trooper and Muttley trying to chase down Nick. That's 6th, 7th, and 8th on the screen. Trooper right there in 7th. He's got that Ford of Muttley just hanging there with him at this point, just hanging in there.
Looks like Pogo and Cat Guy got a, or they're certainly, Pogo's creeping up on Cat Guy the whole time.
Yeah, those guys have been creeping up the whole time that Lecky and Luke were battling out front. The gap was closing from about 7th on in, keeping it within 10 seconds. It's starting to spread out a little again because Lecky's got clear track, and he's obvious that last lap, Lecky ran a 2:06.1 to a 2:09, a trouble lap for Luke. That gave him a 3.5 second advantage, and Lecky has pulled out a little bit of breathing room. But here we go, Nick looking to make the move for 6th place on CDN Trooper. He's trying to get a little bit of draft, get to the outside, can't quite do it.
Wow, what a move. He was outside of him, snuck back behind to try to get that little extra boost right before they got into the corner.
And you got Muttley back there in 8th place, just sitting and kind of watching, waiting to see. He hasn't really been passing people, but Muttley has hung right there with these guys. I think Muttley is running a strategy race to this track, knowing that when guys get together, it'll slow them down, and then he runs up on them, gets back into the race. And as you can see, he's still at only a 12-second gap to the leader, as we've got Green Gaiman also into the pits here at the 29-minute mark. Looks like he could be routine stop, may be getting repairs, as 6th, 7th, and 8th are right on top of each other there. Down through Hurry Downs as they're gearing up for the carousel. Muttley getting a much better run. It looks like
nice drive off.
Nick catching a little too much of the curb, and Muttley goes inside, taking 7th place. Might be that the Ford's a little more aerodynamic, perhaps, and maybe a little better on the tires. Not as fast early on, but maybe they'll come to it. It's tough to tell. Taijo has had his problems. He's a lap down, obviously had some damage. But Muttley, another Ford standard bearer, moving up nicely. Meanwhile, as you can see the race pace settling in. I mean, Lecky putting in a super lap there a moment ago.
Oh, and then he gives it all back. Muttley gives it all back, goes wide in Canada corner.
That's too bad. Falls back. He's still hanging on to it, but it looks like Nick's going to have a run on him. Oh yeah, he's going to have some muscle on him coming down the front stretch here. Gotta decide where to go. Heading down towards turn 1. Muttley settling on the outside line. Nick's going to be patient. Going to wait for his chance here. Meanwhile, Pogo and Cat Guy looks like they've got a battle going on for 3rd place. Pair of Corvettes, and they've caught up to Luke now. Looks like Luke had some kind of trouble. 2:10 on the last lap, so he is definitely starting to have some problem. He is in second, third, 4th, and soon to be 5th, right on top of each other. That's Pogo sitting in 4th place. Yellow factory car in front of him is Cat Guy, and that's Luke Snipes up in the Ferrari, as we've got a Vet and a Ferrari up front now. Cat Guy qualifying back in the 4th row, moving up here to a 3rd place spot with the points lead. He's got to hang on to it, keep the tires under him. We're nearing the halfway point here, 26.5 minutes, as we are 18.5 minutes into the race, 9 laps on the board. And this is the point where you're going to start seeing those left side tires wear extensively once you, and that carousel and the kink here where they're just about to go through, that's going to become a severe danger spot.
I can always remember the left fronts here just being the most punished tire, which is, you know, that's part of the key element when we get to when you get the Indy cars here tomorrow, is making sure what combination you're going to run. I know what I'm going to run tomorrow because you know, I've had some great drivers over the seasons that have made suggestions that worked very well, and so then it gets back to it's the strategy. We know for sure the Indy cars can't make the entire race on fuel, and I'm not going to be foolish enough to try to make them go all the way on tires. So I won't say any more than that.
I hear you there, as these guys are right on top of each other. Cat Guy third, Ogo fourth, Super Crusher fifth. They're not far behind Luke, but obviously slowing each other up with their 3-car battle. As we're down to 12 now, looks like we have another retiree. After 15 starters, we've got 3 out here in the first 20 minutes. A little bit of a surprise at a track like this where there's so much runoff area. I can't imagine that too much damage could be here. We still got all 12 of these cars are still on the lead lap. But as I used to say in my old broadcast when guys saw trouble like that, heart of a champion.
Just got some news from pit road. Apparently, Deadly Hawk must still had the Willow Springs set up under the car.
That's tough.
I don't know if the car chief in that case is going to be fired in that instance. I don't know what the case is, but that's just what we've heard from pit road at this point.
I would, if he put the wrong one on you, Hawk, I can understand that, because that's a frustrating thing. That happened to Cat Guy at the stock car race at Texas a couple weeks ago. Got out on the track, didn't have the right setup in. It's always recommended that when you get in the 2-minute room before the start of the race, even if it says that it has your setup load it in again, just to be sure, because sometimes we've seen that glitch take place. So it's always a good idea. Meanwhile, these guys still 12 cars running, and these guys are grinding it out with under 24 minutes. We are nearing in, just closing in on halfway here at Road America in the Flux GTE Championship. Is got guys dropping off like flies now. We're down to 11. Now open up the track a little more, which Road America doesn't need at 4 miles. Meanwhile, CDN Trooper, this battle between these guys has allowed CDN Trooper to catch up to the group. And Muttley's still in this fight. Meanwhile, not having to battle through traffic, Leckie has pulled out to an 11-second lead out front. He has got a sizable advantage now, as you can see, turning laps in the 206s once he got a clear track. And part of that is him being fast, and part of that is obviously having the clear track to work with, but he's running away. These guys are pacing in the 209s the last lap. We'll see if they can pick that up, but that by no means tells this story quite yet. See who's at the back of the main line here. How about CDN Trooper? Let's get inside the cockpit of that Corvette, as he's in 6th place looking forward all the way up to 2nd place. That's a Super Crusher directly in front of him, coming through the section known as Hurry Downs, I believe, as they set up for the carousel. Now let's see how much push he's experiencing. How bad is that left front tire right now? Off the throttle, off the throttle. I'll tell you, when he gets back on full, I'd say he's still in pretty decent shape. He's back on the throttle pretty early, not a burp. The fuel burn coming off is probably helping him get through the kink there. But now he's going to head down to Canada Corner. This is a place where you may not want to make a move here if you're not already up beside him, but what you do want to do is be ready in case he catches curb, because then you can go right inside of him and make the pass there. That's a common mistake point All right, onto the front stretch here. Let's see what he can line up. I believe that's a lapped car they're going by right now. As Muttley hitting the pits in his Ford GT here at the 21-minute mark. We're just past halfway, so if guys are going to be making pit stops, we're likely going to see him do it here soon. Muttley making his stop. We'll see if he can get out quick and cycle ahead of anybody, as these guys are just right on top of each other. It looks to me like, is that Green Gaiman in the 39? No, it's Pogo. Yeah. Pogo's falling back a bit. I thought he was up a little closer. So, yeah, they're right in there. 4 through 6 on top of each other, with Cat Guy and Luke not far ahead. In the meanwhile, Lecky has been able to just pull out to an advantage. Pogo running there in 4th. He's got Super Crusher all over his back as he goes wide. Little bit of contact. Little bit of contact there between Pogo and Super Crusher as they get in
off the corner. And here we have two.
And Pogo.
Pogo and Green Gaming.
No, it's Pogo and CDN Trooper. He got into CDN, knocked off his rear wing. I'm not sure what happened there. Pogo got a little bump from Super Crusher. Really racing contact there as the two of them were going side by side. That looked mostly like racing contact to me. And then Pogo.
And Pogo's hurt.
Yeah, sliding to the inside, got into CDN Trooper and damaged both cars, it looks like. You can see CDN Trooper missing his rear wing, and that's going to be tough for him. He was having such a good run, as Pogo's going to go by him now. To wonder if we'll see a steward's inquiry on that one. Looks like to me CDN might have to come in and repair that. That's going to be tough. He's came in here second in points, just 6 points behind Cat Guy. He did, and seemed to be being patient throughout that whole battle. He did not want to see that happen. Tough to tell what happened. Pogo might have lost it, catching a little dirt on the inside. They might have just possible from that angle that they closed the door on each other. But definitely some contact, and it looks to me like CDN took the worst of that. I don't see a whole lot of damage on the 39 Corvette of Pogo Mojo, and in fact he's staying out on the track. So
Super Crusher gets away unscathed.
He gets away unscathed, and he's right on top of Cat Guy now as 3, 4, and 5. There they are. Ferrari, Corvette, or 2, 3, and 4. I'm sorry. Yeah. CDN Trooper, in fact, hitting the pits here with 18.5 minutes to go. I suspect he's going to have to repair that rear wing. And as far as we're into the race now, and we have a few guys who have pitted, but a number of guys who haven't, you got to have the feeling that you might have come in earlier than this if you were planning on changing tires. And if you're not planning on changing tires, then there may be no reason to come in, wouldn't you?
And who knows if anybody went with a staggered setup, or if somebody, maybe somebody tried to go with all hards to try to extend. Did somebody try to do all softs in an effort to set those fast laps to build a gap? Did anybody even think about maybe trying just a partial fuel load to negate how that starts to throw the balance of the car off as you go from a full tank as you get closer to empty?
I see your comments. Thanks, guys. We always welcome your comment in. Ruben, yeah, we are aware that this is GTE, not IndyCar. IndyCar's tomorrow night. We're just hyping tomorrow night's race. But the principles of driving this track work pretty much with any car. I mean, to be honest with you, you got to manage that. You got to manage that gap, and you got to manage the risk here at a place like this because of how fast it is, because of how quickly things can go wrong. Lecky here just burning it out, but these guys are fighting tooth and nail for third place. Cat Guy in a good position, as Lecky might be in a position where he's at right here to take the points lead, possibly. So Cat Guy will definitely be looking to get up on Luke to maintain that, but Pogo, we'll have to see what his next lap time is coming by, and if his car's got some damage. CDN, meanwhile, back in 9th, will be looking to move up on some of the guys in front of him.
You guys are beating on each other like we owe each other money.
Pretty much. I mean, that was definitely tough racing. It's hard to tell. At the tail end of that, the initial contact with Super Crusher and Pogo was incidental. That was just two guys hard under braking in the corner. Whatever after that was tough to see from our angle. It could have been Pogo went inside, caught a little bit of curb, and got up into CDN. It could have been the two of them were trying to go side by side, and they, took the same line. It could have been an aggressive move on Pogo's part. It's tough to tell. You'd need some of the onboard cameras to see that, but either way, you're going to go for it at some point, and apparently 20 minutes to go is when those guys decide to do it. We're looking at 15:45 on the clock now, anticipating 8 or 9 more laps here. And
a little loss of traction getting off of that corner, and it makes it hard even if you blip the throttle, at that point you've lost the momentum and you've lost that all precious control that you're trying to maintain.
Yeah, that's another thing about this track. Like I said, you're wearing out that left front tire. The car's got more and more aero push, particularly, even without a car in front of you, you've got more push coming through those right-handers. So keeping the car on the track, you got to steadily start to feather off more throttle to make a turn like that. Now, the extra part of that is that when you've got the cars in front of you, the way that Super does right now, he's right behind Cat Guy, you've got that dirty air pushing you to the outside as well. That combination always made me, in whether it was a sports car race or a stock car race or an Indy car race, it always made me decide that at some point in my run, I knew I had to make my move before my tires got to this point. Because once that aero push is there, you cannot get the good run that you want coming through the carousel behind people. I used to try to set up my strategy so that the fast guys would catch me whenever they were on old tires for that very reason. And if you're lucky enough that it works out that way, then it works out that way. But these guys, Super Crusher's feeling it. He hasn't been in the pits. He's probably feeling the push on those left side tires now. He's trying to line Cat Guy up, and the guy in the front has the advantage at this point, despite the draft. You can get off the corner better more times than not. And it seems pretty obvious to me at this point that most of these front runners are not planning on pitting. If they've been out this long, they're definitely not going to change tires. Not going to take that time.
Yeah, Super kind of being challenged. He got that instance. Car goes wide in that corner, and that corner there. If you're brave enough, that's another one of those. You can take it flat out. Maybe even try a gear change in the midway of that corner to try to maintain that momentum. And this portion here, coming down through the kink, if you will, very quick left. Don't let the car go too far out to the left-hand side. Just another place to get up on the rumble strips. And even though these cars have very excellent downforce, big wide tires, they like to stay in contact with the black stuff only. Stay on the track surface.
We got a battle brewing for 5th place as well, as Pogo has got the outside pole sitter Harry all over him. That's a Ferrari going up against a Corvette. Harry's got that car banged up. He, I believe, banged it up earlier in the race when he had an early lead, took off the whole shot for us, and obviously wrapped up that Ferrari a little bit. He's trying to chase down Pogo's Corvette as they are right on top of each other. That's a valuable 3 points right there, not to mention the bragging rights of making the top 5.
Well, I wonder too, did Pogo get any damage in his altercation earlier that may be affecting him to the point to where Harry can actually, even with his damage, be able to maintain some sort of gap between him and Pogo.
Now, take a look. Is that rear valence missing on Pogo's Corvette? When you get a glance at him from the back. No. I thought there was something missing down there. No, it looks like it's okay. It's tough to tell. He's not running as fast as he was earlier. That could, of course, just be the tires.
Right.
But, you know, these guys definitely want that top 5. There's 11 cars on the track, but don't forget, guys, there's 15 starters. You know, 4 guys DNF, and you've just beat them too. So getting up into that top 5 out of 15 gets you some real good championship points, and puts you in a position where you can, you know, as we said, this is round 5 of 8. We've got Watkins Glen coming up next week, then Laguna Seca, then the Texas Motor Speedway road course to close out the GTE season on the Flux American Tour. And these cars are, these guys are so close, as we said. The top 10 are all within about a race's worth of points from each other. As Pogo and Harry here, bumping a little bit. Once again,
a little bit.
Pogo getting his elbows out in his airtime here this week, as him and Harry going door handle to door handle there. We got another car dropped out. I'm wondering who that was. Was that Nick Ancon? Yes, Nick is out.
Yes.
He was running up in the top 5. I'm wondering if he had a motor problem or not.
I just cannot believe the amount. And you know, you would have thought with a week off, with the races being red flagged last week, that would have given the drivers and, you know, the crew chiefs opportunity to put more effort into this package. But I guess maybe the combination of trying to stretch the tires, trying to stretch the fuel, and on this long track is really starting to have its way with all these cars.
It appears too. We still got 9.5 minutes to go here, so probably 5 laps at least remaining, maybe 6. Lecky, meanwhile, is pulled out in front, while Cat Guy and Super, Pogo and Harry, they're still going at it. 6th place will be up for battle here pretty soon. Let's give Lecky a little airtime before we jump back on these guys. Ever since he got into the lead and got a couple seconds breathing room, I would say aerodynamic breathing room, if that makes sense, once he got aerodynamic breathing room, he's consistently run about a second faster than the guys still in traffic, and he has pulled out now to a 25-second lead and is in a position where if he can keep those tires under him and he has enough fuel on board, he could get his second win of the season in 4 races. And most definitely, as long as Cat Guy's in second, he won't quite take the points lead. But will definitely put himself in a position to be right there with him. It'll be practically a tie, especially if he puts up the fastest lap. They will be maybe a point or 2 apart. Right there, you see no curbs.
Oh,
just smooth, managing the car, not getting up on the curbs, not making mistakes. When he's been slow, it's been 209s. When other guys have been slow, it's been 210s, 211s, and that's because he's not making many errors. Same thing down here. Early on the brakes, he's not diving onto the brakes. Coming into turn 5, barely catches the curb. If he does, he corrects it. Waited on the throttle. You saw him not try to spike it when he knew he didn't quite have the tires down. Same thing here. Waits until it settles. And as a result, even if he doesn't nail the lap, he's only losing half a second, 3/4 of a second, rather than 2 or 3 seconds. He's managing this car perfectly. We'll see through the carousel just how good his tires are here. Burping it, breathing it, just like you want to be turning hard right here. Now here's where you want to see through here all the way back on it. He's still got a pretty good amount of grip on those tires. Not a good amount of grip, mind you, but he's got enough to get through these 2 sections with a minimum of losing the throttle, and that's put him in a good position. Pogo, meanwhile, hitting the pits. I'm wondering if he picked up damage. That's going to be a tough break for Pogo, who was a definite championship contender at the start of this season, but he's had some issues. He had a wreck at Daytona. He's had a couple of incidents here today, so I believe that yeah, he looks like he might be, that rear end looks a little, yeah, that got repaired. You saw that one, Shu? Yep. Definitely had a problem with the rear end of that car. So I think in Pogo's case, he had a good drive. He just had a little too much, as David Hobbs would say, argy-bargy over the course of this one, as we're down to 6.5 minutes, probably about 3 to 4 laps remaining. Lecky appears to have it set And this is a key position for Lecky. If Cat Guy maintains second, he will maintain the points lead after this race. If Super Crusher takes the lead and Cat Guy is third, I believe that Lecky will barely take the points lead heading into Watkins Glen next week. Good time here as these guys battle to talk about what we've got coming up this weekend on Flux Motorsport TV. Tomorrow at 8 p.m. UK time, 3 p.m. East Coast time in the States. It'll be round 5 of the Flux LMP2 Championship. That will be down in Australia at the famed Mount Panorama circuit at Bathurst. Those cars around Bathurst ought to be a fantastic show. And then at 8 p.m. Eastern time, 1 a.m. for those of you in the UK, the Flux IndyCar Championship will be right back here on the American Tour at Road America, as those open wheelers will battle it out. On Sunday, we've got the GT3 Championship at 8 p.m. UK time at Sportsland Sugo in Japan, and then Sunday night, 8 p.m. US, 1 a.m. UK, the Flux Stock Car Championship at Daytona International Speedway, the night race there at Daytona. So a lot of action this weekend.
Back to Daytona for the second time for the stock cars this season, and it'll be interesting to see if how many of those guys that fared very well during the first race going at night, are they going to have the same opportunities? And Daytona is always a crapshoot.
Yeah, I just check through some of the commentary. Apparently, Luke Snipes, we lost him, disconnections. And we will call that a blown motor. Those of you who have been watching a lot of the Flux TV broadcasts, especially here on the American Tour, we used to always have a great explanation that in sim racing, your internet package, your server package, all that is basically your engine. You know, it's basically your engine. And just like in real life racing, when you don't have a good enough connection and it kicks you from the room, it's the same as blowing a motor when you're racing in real life. So we always call disconnects a blown motor, and looks like Luke running in P2 blew a motor. Luke, we feel for you. You had a fantastic run in that Ferrari going, and you definitely get a shout out from us up here in the booth. Had a terrific drive, but unfortunately that Ferrari engine expired. And send the check to Enzo over in Modena. They'll take care of it for you. Meanwhile, 10 cars on the track.
No, tell Enzo he wants a better car. Build better fenders. Speaking of fenders, it looks like Super Crusher's testing out the bumper on his Corvette.
And we've got some battles here. We've got Cat Guy and Super Crusher battling for second. We've got Muttley battling Jiggly Jello for a top 5 finish, while Lecky, meanwhile, running out in front by about 28 seconds, appears to have this one pretty much in the bag if he can avoid any type of serious trouble. Meanwhile, Super just got by Cat Guy, and they're sliding around there. Now Cat Guy took it back. We're gonna have to give them priority for now, unfortunately, guys, but these guys are battling for second place and 3 very valuable championship points that Cat Guy needs and knows it. Cat Guy was second at go ahead.
No pit stops for either one of these guys, right?
No, they've all stayed out here, these front 5 or 6.
That's just incredible. The cars light on fuel, down on tires.
These front 6 have not made pit stops, and they are battling it out here. Super Crusher catching a little bit. He's going to have to gear up. 2:18 to go. We'll see where Lecky's at, and we'll tell you how many more laps they're going to have once we hit 0. Should be about 2 or 3, so there's plenty of time here to make a run. The attrition has allowed some of these guys to move up and get some decent points. Like to see less of that. Like to see guys grind it out, but some of them having mechanical issues, obviously, and not much you can do about that. I'm wondering if anybody misdid their fuel. We'll see anybody diving in needing a splash at the end. It's tough to tell here. Lecky, meanwhile, minute 38. I think he'll probably make the next lap before the clock is up. So we should have 2 more to go, or be 1 to go at the line. Meanwhile, these two are at it. Cat Guy in second. He was second place at Daytona. I believe he was on the podium at, giving him the chrome horn there. I believe he was on the
run.
Yeah, I believe he was on the podium also at Willow and struggled a bit, gave up some of his ground at Sonoma. So Cat Guy will be happy to get back on the podium in that Corvette. But he wants that second place finish as him and Super Crusher. Super Crusher, as we said, qualified third. Had a couple of offs early in the race. He was as far back as 11th or 12th at one point, but has worked his way through the field, has worked his way through the cars retiring, and is right back in the position where he started the race with a chance to get on the podium, which I believe would be his first podium of the season here in GTE. Going to the outside and hurry downs. He's got to try to hold it. Looks like he might have made the pass. Gutsy move. That was the move Lecky was trying to make for about 5 laps earlier in this race.
And left Cat Guy all the room in the world. Awesome pass.
Yeah, great pass. We'll see if Cat Guy's got a chance at it, but Lecky, meanwhile, let's take a look at where he's at as the clock is about to run out. 9, 8. He's going to come across the line, so that's going to give us 1 more lap. It's white flag as Cat Guy and Super are still going at it. Cat Guy gets back by him as these two are going at it, while Muttley and Jiggly Jello go at it for 5th. But this is the premier battle on the track, the battle for 2nd place. You got to realize here that these two guys got to stand next to each other on the podium here in about 5 minutes. So they better make sure that if you get into the other guy, you better make sure you get into him so good he's not on the podium with you. You know what I mean?
Drag race down the front stretch.
Here it comes. Cat Guy will give him the inside, I think. He's flashing those lights, saying something.
Yeah, I think he's dragging his brakes, pretending.
He might be deciding, I want to line him up and pass him through the carousel. I don't want to be in front coming down the last straight. That might just be a strategy move by Cat Guy. Or maybe he has something wrong with the car. He could be low on fuel.
Or here's this opportunity to take advantage of what taking the air off of Super's rear wing by getting underneath there, making the back end of the loose car in an effort to try to force an error.
Absolutely. And to check and see where Lecky is. He's about to go through the kink. We'll get back to him as he hits the front stretch. But meanwhile, Super and Cat Guy about to go through hurry downs. We've got Corvettes across the top 3. It might be an all Chevy podium here today. That's where Cat Guy's hoping to get him, is on that aggressive move out there beyond the carousel. Lecky coming through some lap traffic. All right, here we go through the carousel and the kink. It looks as right now as though Super's got the advantage. Lecky, meanwhile, out front, going to get his 2nd win of the season in GTE. Willow Springs has added the Road America trophy to its case as Lecky 2000 takes home the win in the GTEs at Road America. Coming off of turn 14, Super Crusher slides out of the way and loses it coming out through the Canada corner, not turn 14. My apologies there. He loses it in Canada corner, and
Looks
that
like
may
the rear
just
brakes
give it.
Locked up. Oh man.
Yeah, rear brakes locked up on him, and that's going to push Cat Guy up into 2nd. Can Cat Guy maintain it off of 14? It looks to me like he's going to be able to do it, and your points leader is going to maintain the points lead as he's going to come across in 2nd place. Super Crusher with a terrific run to come home in 3rd.
Awesome battle between those two. Great laps.
Got to give a shout here, Harry, with that Ferrari, that nose barely hanging on. He was started 2nd. He was your outside pole sitter. He led for the first few laps of this race until he had a little bit of problems. And he is going to, despite all the trouble he's had, we're going to have to give him a call, as he's going to wind up with a 4th place finish, going to end up in the top 5 with his car looking like that. Great recovery drive from Harry, getting some valuable points. Meanwhile, CDN Trooper got by Muttley there and Jiggly Jello at the end, and it looks like CDN's going to come out after all that damage that he had from the battle with Pogo and still manage a top 5 finish. He obviously went out, you see that 207 lap, he went out, got new tires with the repairs, and comes across in 5th. We'll see if there's any penalties from the race marshal to factor in here. But it looks like 10 cars going to roll to the finish. Meanwhile, Lecky is your winner. As these guys roll it to the finish, Lecky the winner here at Road America in round 5, also won at Willow Springs for he's the first 2-time winner here in the Flux American Sports Car GTE Championship. And all right, we are going to get to your final results here at the Flux Motorsport 2021 Season 1 GTE Championship Round 5 at Road America. The winner, Lecky 2000 in his vet, just a terrific run. Looks like 206.194 might be our fastest lap and earn him that bonus as well. Cat Guy in his vet, bring it home in second, had that tremendous battle with Super Crusher, who ends up third. Those two are going to end up next to each other on the podium with a terrific run. Cat Guy will maintain the points lead. Super Crusher getting qualifying third, racing third. I think today we can say One Shoe, he put up the performance that we've been waiting to see from him to complete the race, and Super Crusher definitely did that today.
Yep. Him and Cat Guy. That's what you want to see. It would have been nice to maybe to see a Chevy and a Ford, but here in this case, 2 Chevrolets, especially seeing Chevrolets in the top 3. What an amazing drive by all of those, all the Flux Motorsport drivers. Incredible, especially those that I kind of amazed by no pit stops out of the top 4.
Yeah, no kidding. Harry W. Sat on the outside pole, as we said. Great recovery drive. He's got some expensive repairs to do on that Ferrari, but he manages to come home in 4th place. CDN Trooper lost that rear wing, had that rear damage during the battles with Pogo coming through Hurry Downs and turn 5, and he's going to end up with a 5th place finish. Might be drive of the race if the front 3 hadn't put on such a great show, but he made that pit stop, came back out, and put up his fastest laps to move all the way back up into the top 5. And considering he came into the race second in points, look at what he did there. His 2 closest competitors, first and third in points, finished 1-2. He could have this could have been the race that took him out of the championship. CDN drove all the way back from that damage and managed a top 5, and with 3 rounds to go, still very much in it. Muttley, with a terrific run in that Ford, he started near the back of the field, managed to drive it up through the attrition and finish 6th. He had a heck of a battle going with Jiggly Jello, who held onto those tires as long as he could, did not make a pit stop, ended up with a solid 7th place finish. McToasty, our pole sitter, things went wrong for him pretty early on in the race, right off the start. Definitely probably got roughed up in the school of fish as they dove down towards turns 1 and 2. Nonetheless, he drives it back to finish in 8th place. Coming in 9th will be Green Gaming. He came up from the back of the grid, grunted it out, a lap down, finished a solid 9th, and in 10th place will be Pogo Mojo, who had a shot in this race. He was definitely a contender for a podium, but as has been the story this year, mostly for Pogo, cars getting banged up on him. He's going to drive it home to a 10th place finish. Well, that's going to wrap it up here for us at Road America, the GTE Championship. We will see you tomorrow at the LMP2 Championship down in Australia at 8 p.m. UK time. We will see you in the American Tour here tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern for the IndyCar Championship race right here at Road America. So for One Shoe, this is Carlin Hicks, going to say once again congratulations to Lecky 2000, our Road America GTE winner, and we will see you guys tomorrow on Flux Motorsport TV. Have a good night.